Hey folks, it's Miss Kimberly from Miss Kimberly LLC, the Mad Mentor Program. So this is a lesson on fractions. I received a request from Mr. Cherry, a wonderful elementary school teacher. So I just wanted to put my information out there. Can you see that? Wonderful. So we're going to talk about fractions because he shared with me that his children really struggle with that. And I've seen my kiddos struggle with that for various reasons. So the first one, our first concept is to think about opposites. I know it may seem left field, but to think about opposites. And I made a few opposites here. So you have up, down, left, right, open, closed, on, off, sit, stand, shaded and unshaded. And we'll get to that. And I know it may seem left field, but in order to understand fractions, you have to kind of understand the concept of math. And so here are ways to think about how you do that. So opposites are often used to check your work. Basically, when you learn to add or when you have your stuff, when you have your solution, then you can go back and subtract to make sure that your answer is correct. Same with multiplication and division. They're inverse of each other, but I call them opposites because it's easier for the kids to kind of grasp. So fractions and decimals are about the same sort of thing. So what you have in a fraction, you can make into a decimal. Now, that has to do with division. And obviously, it's easier to do division if you have a strong ability to do multiplication. And it's also way faster when you memorize it. So I wanted to talk about a definition of fraction. So it says a number which indicates that one number, ideally the numerator or the top number, is being divided by the other number, the denominator, or the bottom number. So we're going to briefly discuss and show you numerator, denominator. We're going to do the whole or total area. We're going to talk about the shaded area and the unshaded area. So first, we're going to do the numerator. And I have my notes if you haven't figured that out. So the numerator. In a fraction, the numerator is the top number, okay? It shows the shaded area in this case. When you do a division problem to check it, because this is half, and 0.5 represents half, so the 1, or the numerator, goes on the inside of the house. The bottom part, the denominator, goes on the outside of the house. So then the denominator, pardon me, is the bottom part. The denominator is the bottom part of the fraction. It represents all the parts of the whole. Goes on the outside. So I wrote a little note here. It says the whole has two parts in this case, or fractions of the whole, pieces of the whole. Like when you shave your head and you have a fade, you fade a fraction of your hair. Anywho, so I wanted to talk about the whole or total area. The whole of a whole equals a 1, period. So here you have a circle with two parts. 2 shaded areas, numerator, 2 total parts, denominator equals 1. It doesn't matter how many you have. So here, this one has 4. So 4 shaded areas and 4 parts all together. Here you have 8 shaded areas and 8 parts. Here you have 10 shaded areas and 10 parts. Each one equals 1. Any numerator and denominator that is the same, they equal 1. 100 over 100, a million over a million, 19 over 19, it always, always, always equals 1. So I even put the fraction or the division problem on here. So 2 over 2, if you put that in a division problem, it becomes 2 divided by 2. 2 times 1 equals 2. You subtract that, 0. 4 divided by 4 is 1, because 4 times 1 equals 4. Subtract 4, that's a 0. The same with the 8 and the 10. The first thing you need to figure out is, what are you solving for? So some places, some teachers may want to know the shaded area. Some may want to know what the area is unshaded. So here I have 1/2 shaded, right? The shaded area, 2/4, 3, 1, 2, 3 shaded areas. And then here I have the red numbers in the unshaded parts. So 1/2, 1, 2 over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 8. Now, if you add them together, so you have 1/2 plus 1/2, right? The shaded area plus the unshaded area should give you total. You should have the whole area. So you should have the numerator and the denominators the same number. It will always, again, equal 1. So that's a great place to start with fractions. My suggestion would be to focus on multiplication first. If you don't have that skill set down, it may make it very difficult to do division, because you're not going to know how to divide as quickly, or even know how to divide, period. So it's very important to try to memorize your multiplication. I have a lot of kids that want to use charts or multiplication charts. Yeah, that's cool. But the problem comes in when you can't just walk around with a chart on you. So it's a good idea to kind of start using that memorization. So work on those skills. Again, I wanted to shout out to Mr. Cherry. Thank you so much for putting in your request, and I hope this kind of gets you where you need to go, or at least start your class. And I hope your students and all of our students have a very, very successful year. Now, as far as my social media, on Facebook, you can find me at Miss Kimberly LLC, the Mad Mentor Program. On Instagram, it's Miss MISS _ Kimberly, KIMBERLEE _ LLC. On Twitter, it's at the Mad Mentor. That's one word, THEMADMENTOR. And don't forget, if you are watching this video on YouTube, subscribe below. And if you have some questions for your elementary school kiddos, be sure to submit them at the Mad Mentor Program at yahoo.com. Or you can find me on one of the social media sites and let me know what you're looking for, and I'll try to make a video and give you a shout out. Thanks so much. Until next time.